Born in Cordoba, in what is now Spain, in 4 BC, Lucius Annaeus Seneca, the younger, later came to Rome as a kid and grew up to be a revered member of the Roman community. Little Seneca was raised in an affluent home with a father who was already a well-known author and rhetorician. He was destined to eventually make his place among Rome's nobility. Seneca was taken across the Mediterranean to be with an uncle who was then the prefect of Egypt when he started having respiratory problems, perhaps a kind of asthma. The Senecas were not coin-counting people. After a few years, Seneca came back to Rome and was immediately in difficulty. Seneca was commanded to kill himself by Emperor Caligula after being upset by his Senate remarks. But the emperor wavered because Seneca already appeared sickly and unwell. Better still if Seneca passed away naturally. Let's go further into that story. Seneca survived. Instead, Caligula was killed, and Claudius, who was a little friendlier to the philosopher, took over as emperor. Seneca was eventually found guilty of adultery with Caligula's sister by the Senate and given a death sentence. However, the emperor altered the verdict to exile. Seneca spent 8 years in the pleasant, sunny island of Corsica, where he famously penned the Consolation to Helvia and the Consolation to Polybius. Seneca attempted to persuade the emperor to reconsider his opinion by flattery in these writings. However, his exile was only short-lived because Seneca's friend and Caligula's sister, Claudius's new bride, negotiated for his return from Corsica. Seneca came under assault from a variety of angles, and he frequently found himself in the heart of accusations of corruption, extramarital affairs with Agrippina, and extortion of borrowers of loans. He was no longer concerned, though. Seneca had amassed enormous wealth and had homes all around the Mediterranean. Even the British nobility received loans from him, but when he abruptly demanded repayment, a revolt broke out. The wealthy philosopher at the center of the Roman web of power slowly but surely started to bother the emperor. Seneca was one of the people Nero wanted gone after learning of a plot to have him killed. He rapidly got rid of everyone he suspected of working with the conspirators. In a nod to Seneca's very first encounter with Roman politics, Emperor Nero gave the elderly philosopher the command to commit suicide. This time, nobody was still around to stand up for him, take his side, or shield him from the emperor's anger. Seneca murdered himself in 65 AD, although the act was exceedingly clumsy and included a lot more blood and suffering than was required. And so the life of this most ambiguous, most glittering figure of ancient philosophy came to an end. The Stoic who wrote about the human suffering from inside his gleaming banqueting halls, the tutor who may have plotted to kill his student, the man who got caught in the web of sex and betrayal that was Roman politics at the time, the exiled criminal who spent 10 years living it up in luxury on a sunny island, all the while writing letters in which he tried to console. Over antiquity, the emphasis of the Stoic philosophy shifted from logic and science to more psychological issues like calm and well-being. Additionally, even though the Stoics could never come together to explicitly endorse all of their beliefs, there were a few that formed the basis of their philosophy. Here are some of the key precepts and methods that Stoics advocate for leading a better life. Importantly, they are not merely intriguing concepts to ponder and then dismiss. Rather, they are ones that should be put into daily practice. However, in modern times, individuals are more likely to hear about Stoicism through Seneca, who was born during the Hellenistic period 323 BC to 31 BC, because he lived after it. The popularity of his philosophical writings endured long after his death and significantly contributed to the Renaissance's resurgence of Stoic thought. Stoics think that philosophy should involve more than just dense texts or difficult lectures. Instead, philosophy should be practiced in the context of significant self-transformation. They consider philosophy to be a way of life that fosters peace of mind and moral value in individuals. Seneca wrote that, "Of all people, only those are at leisure who make time for philosophy, only those are really alive. For they not only keep a good watch over their own lifetimes, but they annex every age to theirs. All the years that have passed before them are added to their own." The Stoics believe that having a thorough understanding of the nature of the world allows individuals to live their lives to the fullest potential. Seneca did not develop a philosophical system from scratch, since he thought of philosophy as a way of life. Seneca and other Stoics were interested in the practical applications of philosophy and ethics, such as law, global citizenship, nature, and religion, as these endeavors give people a sense of purpose and belonging. Seneca held that philosophical insights were inspired by the world around us and should help us live in agreement with that existing system. Stoicism holds that since money is a resource that individuals can always produce more of, unlike time, acquiring and preserving riches should not be a top goal. For Seneca, true riches had nothing to do with material possessions. He also asserted that although existing for a long time and enjoying a life are two entirely different things, and that doing is not preferable to being. Making the most of one's time is necessary for truly living, not merely existing as a cog in the economic machine. Therefore, having money should be about enjoying life to the utmost in accordance with one's own desires and goals. On the shortness of life. The central concern of Seneca's philosophical works was how we might be joyful. First of all, he thought that everyone should always be learning and using life as their teacher. Second, he advocated collaborating with the environment, which is especially important in the face of climate change. Instead of working in a way that extracts from their surroundings, he advocated that individuals should cooperate with it. Thirdly, Seneca stated in his essay on the shortness of life that in order to be happy, we must be aware of the finite nature of our life and the need of making the most of it. Since the only thing we can control is the present, he exhorted people to appreciate time and live in the here and now. According to Seneca, putting things off is the biggest waste of life. It snatches away each day as it comes and denies us the present by promising the future. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. You are arranging what lies in fortune's control and abandoning what lies in yours. What are you looking at? To what goal are you straining? The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Seneca's article provides us with some practical time management strategies that we may use. Consider time to be a resource. As a result, individuals will preserve their time better since they would view it as a precious resource. You shouldn't spend time getting ready for your death. This lesson adheres to Stoic ideals, which hold that studying philosophy should be done in harmony with everyday life, rather than independently from it. Seneca believed that since the future is unpredictable, it is best to live in the present. Spend your time on activities that you find enjoyable and will add significance to your life. Live for yourself and stop doing things for other people. Avoid delaying, since doing so wastes our time on meaningless tasks. Premeditation malorium is Seneca's advice for avoiding procrastination, or the premeditation of evils. Before starting something, it might be helpful to ask oneself what the worst-case scenarios or potential negative results might be in order to mentally prepare for them. Work that won't have a significant benefit until later on should not be rewarded immediately. Procrastination typically results from our need for instant pleasure because important labor frequently doesn't pay off for hours or even weeks. To give your effort an instant incentive, you may, for instance, tell yourself that you can only watch Netflix once you finish the first portion of your report. We should use our downtime on worthwhile pursuits, since we work about 8 hours a day merely to provide ourselves leisure time. Consider your past. Seneca encourages us to typically live in the moment, but he opposes time management techniques that include concentrating on the present and casting a glance in the direction of the future. He believes that while the past cannot be changed, the future is unpredictable. Therefore, looking back on the past might help you become more self-aware and understand how you arrived to where you are now. So, that was it for today's video. If you enjoyed our topic for today and learned something new, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more educational and informative videos. See you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.